Hi everyone, this week we're talking about content, news releases, fact sheets, or FAQs. I like to make that a little bit broader, and a couple of other media tools that you can use as a PR person. So first, I really want us to think about just a little bit broader what type of information you can provide as a PR person for any type of organization, a company, a corporation, a nonprofit, an educational institution. Everyone can think through this and develop content that is valuable for their audiences. So, Paul Gillen, who wrote the book Secrets of Social Media Marketing, said that customers are sneering at sales pitches. Don't pitch. It's about engagement, form of a relationship with a prospect through the exchange of useful, meaningful information. And so that sort of is what distinguishes PR people from maybe marketers or advertising, is that we're trying to provide information that is not just trying to sell something, but something that is helping people, helping develop a relationship with people, and also forming our own image at the same time. So with the right content, you can attract an audience. They're going to want to come to you because you're providing them information that helps them with things they're interested in, with their activities, maybe something that they need in their life. So you're providing them that information. They're going to start developing that relationship with you because you are helping them. So you want to think like a publisher. So try to get out of the mindset of marketer. We do that as PR people, but we also want to think about being publishers. Think about what your audience might want to read. Think about how they want to receive information. They want information that's interesting, but also clear and concise and doesn't waste their time. And also, of course, things that will be useful to them in their lives. So you and your organization, you have that type of content that can be powerful and relevant to your audiences. You want to be careful though. I have had marketing executives and clients trying to only have us send out information that promotes or hypes or sells our organization. In today's world, consumers are resisting being sold. They want authentic information, they want authentic companies, and they want information that's useful. They kind of think twice about information that seems too advertising or hype-ish, that they don't trust it as much. So the more authentic you can be, the better. So your organization can be a thought leader. You can provide valuable content that helps your reputation and it sets you apart from your competitors. So you want to create that content and you offer it for free. You give it to people just as a resource and not as something that they have to buy. So instead of just directly selling something, if you provide great content to someone, it's letting people know that your organization is smart, that you're understanding the market and what they need, and that you're the type of business that they want to work with. So provide content that will be a solution to problems. So here's an example. You're a preschool, and as we all know, preschools compete with one another, trying to get the parents to send their kids to their preschool and not to the competitor. So one way that you could do this is just as an example, you could have a blog that you set up or something on your website where you're providing information to people like 10 steps to prepare your child for kindergarten, things that they can do not just in the preschool but outside in their own homes to help their kids get ready for school. Helping your child make friends, not enemies, with the preschool set. How they can learn to get along with others and things like that even before they walk into the preschool. And teaching the ABCs in a fun, fast manner, just fun little things that parents can do to help their kids learn the ABCs. So you see, all that information is just helpful. It's not saying, hey, we're the best preschool in Rochester Hills, so send your kid here. It is giving information that can help a parent and start developing a relationship with that family. So this story, they educate the buyers about issues that are important to them. And people learn valuable information from whether it's on the blog, a newsletter, or website. And so when the time comes for their kid to go to preschool, they might consider sending their children to your preschool because you've been offering them this valuable information. Also remember that content is versatile. So much of the content that you create for one piece can also be reshaped, reworked a little bit to use in other areas. So if I have an article that I've written and it's going in my newsletter that we mail out to people's homes, it can also be reshaped, maybe using a little bit different language, shortening it, lengthening it for a blog, etc. So you can use information, just because you write it once doesn't mean you can never use it again. You can use it in a lot of different capacities. So some tips. First of all, of course, as I think I've said every week, know who your audience is. Who is your buyer persona? Who is your target? What problems do they encounter? What topics appeal to them? That way you can provide content that is helpful to them. And also you have to make it interesting. Use examples and stories. People like to read about people, so use that as much as you can. Tell stories that connect to their problems, that are relevant to their lives. Build a community. People like to interact with each other, and they belong to groups with common interests and goals. So try to start building that relationship so that you have a community with your buyer personas. And seek influence, but not control. If you try to control everything, it's going to backfire. So if you have a blog and you allow comments, or you have a social media feed and you allow comments for people to make, which I recommend that you do, what if someone writes a negative comment and say, my kid had a negative experience at your preschool, maybe it's someone with an axe to grind, and they want to share it on social media. I would leave that comment up there on your page. It shows that you are open to criticism, that you're not trying to sugarcoat everything. Also, though, I would respond to if there's a negative comment and deal with it honestly, thoughtfully. Whenever a customer has a problem with a company or an organization, they reach out with that problem in a negative way, and then they get heard and they get some kind of solution. That actually is building a more loyal customer, and other people will. Okay, y'all, you probably noticed that my camera froze on me. So I think I fixed it and we're back live where we should be. I hope so. I don't want to start all over again. So we were talking about, let me go back just to make sure. Yes, seek influence, not control. Okay, know your competition. If you're competing with other preschools, a lot of them will not even have a blog or anything like that. So you're already ahead of the game. But if you're an educational institution or a company, a nonprofit, we use the word compete, but that's also the case for nonprofits. They're, competing against other nonprofits that are trying to raise money, raise volunteers, that type of thing. So kind of just keep an eye on what your other people in your in your industry are doing, and try to make yourself different from them. Also, you always want to make sure your audiences know when content is available. That's hard in today's world because we have that 24/7 media. Everything is in front of us. All this information is in front of us all the time. So you need to make sure that they find your content. So link your content together. Think about, once you have a new blog, you need to put it on Twitter, Facebook, email it. Make sure your website has references to all your social media. Same with your newsletters. Think about always connecting all your different pieces together. Also, use good headlines. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. In fact, I think we might be talking more about it in a future week. Headlines are really important, especially in the internet world. You have to think keywords. What words will people be searching for if they're searching for your organization? And so we'll talk more about that. But in your headline, you do want to use keywords that you think your buyer personas or your audiences will be looking for. Brian Clark of Copyblogger writes, your headline is the first and perhaps only impression you make on a prospective reader. Without a headline or a post title that turns a browser into a reader, the rest of your words may as well not even exist. So headlines are really important. I would write the article first, or social media feed, whatever it might be, the blog, and then write the headline as sort of a summary of your article itself. We'll talk more about that in a future week. I want to transition now to news releases. This is the basic tool that a PR person uses. It's a printed news story. It's prepared by an organization, a nonprofit, an educational institution, a preschool, and distributed to the media for the purpose of publicizing products, services, or activities. I just sent out one yesterday for Rochester College for the theater department. They have a play coming up in Crimes of the Heart in a few weeks, and I sent out a news release about that. So just kind of an example of a news release. Now, editors and producers, when they receive a news release, especially the larger media outlets, they will not use them verbatim. Your smaller ones will because they have a small staff, they need content, they need information, and they many times will put it in directly as you wrote it. But at the larger places, it prompts them to cover a story. It gives them an idea of something that they can write about. And so it has kind of some different purposes when you send out a news release. You need to write the release that reads like a news story. It has a better chance of being used. If it's not well done, if it's too full of marketing hype or sales, if it's not following the basic principles of journalism, the press release will probably just go in the trash bin on their computer or in the actual trash can in their office. News releases are not free ads. They don't have to run them. It's up to their decision if they find it newsworthy and something that they think the audiences of their blog or their newspaper will want to read about. You also have to give them plenty of time, so you must understand the deadlines for print and broadcast so that they have time to receive the news release, work on it, do what they do with it, and then put it into their publication. And again, it must be newsworthy. So you write it as if it's a news article. You answer the 5 W's and H. There'll be a slide about that in a second. You always, especially for basic news releases, you put it into inverted pyramid style. If you don't remember that from when you took media writing, you can go back to a previous chapter in our book and look at it, or go back to your notes from media writing, or Google it, and you can find out about how to write inverted pyramid. Basically, you put the most important information first, a summary lead, and then you put the second least important information, or second most important information second, third most important information third, and on down. You use short paragraphs. We do not paragraph by topic like you were taught in your English or essay classes. You actually paragraph by length to make it easier on the eye and easier to read. And we do follow Associated Press style. Make sure that you put your months and your dates and people's names, and just follow that appropriate style as well. Just kind of refreshing you, what is news? News is a deviation from the expected. Newsroom adage is when a dog bites a man, it's not news, but when a man bites a dog, it's news because it's different. And news is also useful information, things that your audience can use. Event-oriented, it can be anything like a new product. There's a lot of different ways to gain coverage for news for your organization. This is just a reminder about news values, the aspects of an event that make it worth knowing about. So if it's something timely, if it's something local, if it's something that has a famous person in it or a celebrity attending, if it has impact on the people that live in that target audience, then it's going to be more likely to be used by the media. So what to include, 5 W's and H, of course, are the who, what, when, where, why, and how. To this day, I've been in this business for 30 years. I do not send out a news release. I do not send out an ad. I do not send out a press release without always doing the double check. Did I include the 5 W's and H in this piece of information that I'm writing? It just has saved me from forgetting, oh, did I say where it was? You know, those kind of things. How many times have you seen something that was printed or handed to you and it doesn't even tell you where it was or what time it starts because someone forgot to include that? So use that as a double check to make sure you include all the relevant information. Also, in most press releases you'll send out, you'll include a quote. You can get them directly from your source, the right person that you would be including in your news release, or you can write the quote for your source and get approval. So as a PR person, it's often the case where I've written quotes for the president of the university or the president of a company, but there is no way that I would send out that press release without putting it in front of that person and saying, how does this quote look? This is what I've written. 90% of the time, they're going to say, oh, that looks really good. because as a PR person, you learn how to write quotes and how that person would want to be presented, but always get their approval for it. Also include contact information. So there's two different ways to do that. You're going to have your own media contact information so that if the reporter has a question, they can contact you directly for help. But also in the actual news release, you might say, for more information about, this is for the people who are reading the article once it's printed or seeing it online. So if they want more information about a theater program that's coming up, you could send them to rc.edu/theater, which would be the address where they could get more information. So you always provide information for the reader about how to get more information. You also include a boilerplate in news releases. Now, a boilerplate is a paragraph. It's a broad general overview about your company. It is not specific to the actual topic of the news release. So it is a paragraph that is going to be the same that you could put at the end of every single news release that you send out for your organization. It's the last graph. It's just providing the reporter with more information about your organization. And it's usually not something that the press would actually put online or in the article. That is for them to say, oh, Rochester College is a Christian college in Rochester Hills, Michigan, with about 1,000 students. It just gives them that basic information that they need to know. You also, at the end, most news releases should be one page and one page only. And you would put the symbol, the three number signs, kind of centered on the end of the page, or just the word end, so that they know that that is the end. There's no more information to come. And I have a template on this week's assignment that you'll be able to kind of follow to see how to set up a news release. So other publicity tools are fact sheets. I'm going to get into those in a few minutes on the slides. These are one-page background sheets. They are usually more like in bullet point form or outlines. Sometimes they'll just say who, what, when, where, why, and how, and have the answers. Or they may say, have different topics like president, so that the president of the company's name is there. History of the company. What do we produce? How many employees do we have? So it just gives us basic information that you could give to a reporter or anyone seeking information about your organization. There's also media advisories. These are called media alerts. They're usually sent out like a couple days or even sometimes the day of an event to say, hey, remember this is happening today. It just promotes media attendance and coverage of an organization. It's usually real short, just kind of like a bullet point, hey, remember this is happening today type thing. Media kits, your discussion forum this week is looking at media kits, so you'll get more information there. They're also called press kits. They usually have a variety of materials. They used to always be mailed, like in a folder, and they would have news releases and photographs, a fact sheet, maybe a feature article about someone in your company, maybe just more information. I'm trying to think in the olden days. I keep thinking links or something, but that doesn't happen in a paper press kit. Today, because of the expense of producing a press kit, many of them are done online. And you'll see that the one that I have in our weekly assignment has lots of photos and videos, things that people can share on social media. It also has just all the basic information about the organization. Media kits, press kits are a lot of fun to produce. I think I've always liked doing those. And it just is a way to organize and send out all kinds of information about your company that would be helpful to a media outlet. Pitch pieces are those, this is when you're selling a story idea just to one person, one blogger, one influencer, one reporter. The purpose is to convince a journalist to write about an organization or an event. Maybe it's to set up an interview on a radio talk show. Maybe it's to write an article or magazine feature. But this is just sort of an email or a letter that you send to one reporter, just asking them to write about something that you think they might be interested in covering. Okay, digging in a little bit more to fact sheets and FAQs. Fact sheets are very basic. They're just a list of facts about your organization. There'll be an outline form. It just gives you, the reporter, opportunities for quick scanning, and it just gives you basic facts of your organization. You include the standard information, 5 W's and H, the contact people, the background of your company, statistics that you have, your top executive or top administrators, address, phone numbers, websites, those type of things. These next two slides, this one is like a fact sheet that's basically about an organization and some things that you could include on that fact sheet, such as the name of the organization, what products you offer, annual revenue, how many employees you have, the name and a short bio of your top executive, markets that you are in, and other pertinent details and history. Then another type is an event fact sheet. This could be the name of an event, could list the sponsor of the event, the location where it happens, the date and time, why the event is happening, the purpose, how many people you expect to be there, if you have any prominent people attending, anything that's unique about the event itself. Also, I like to also think about FAQs when it comes to when we talk about fact sheets. FAQs are, of course, things that are on websites or online, and users hunt and click through a website, and they frequently end up at the frequently asked question page. It really is one of the most visited and most valuable sections of a website. So they need to be written well, and you need to really put yourself in the user, the audience's position to kind of think about what questions they may have or be searching for about your organization. So you want to have clearly written, well-organized, complete answers to questions on your FAQs. So it can save you time and it satisfies their needs. Customers are used to using FAQs, but it should not be like a big junk drawer. It should not have so much information and just be a jumble that it gets frustrating for people to use. So you want to answer those basic questions that show consumers how they can conduct business with your company. How do I get more information? If I have a problem, who do I contact? Just basic, we've all used FAQs, basic information that is helpful. You don't want to include too many of them. A lot of FAQ sections are way too long. It's nice that a lot of them today you can search inside the FAQs, which is helpful. A small organization may not have that capability depending upon the website platform that they're using. So you have to really be strategic and think about what to include. You don't want to overwhelm people with too much information. Use your FAQ for those most, likely of questions that most people would have. You also can create special FAQs for specific products or maybe specific trips, specific services, specific users. So avoid those chaotic FAQs. Also think about how to group your questions together logically. You don't want to make readers wander through a long list to find what they need. And don't provide dead-end answers. So make sure your answers are relevant and helpful and that they show the user how to take action. And also be specific in your wording. Be clear in what your questions are asking and also in what your answers are hopefully helping them with. And don't just hype your products. This is not a place for you for marketing hype. Focus on the user, give them useful information. Also in FAQs, you might want to include a brief history of your company if you don't already have an about section. But keep it concise and hit the highlights only. Unless someone's really, really invested in your company, they don't want all the details about your history. So just the highlights, when you started, just some interesting points in your organization's history. And then you also want to include contact information on the FAQs, especially if the information is not posted elsewhere. But I would have several places on my website for contact information so that people don't have to search too hard to find out who to reach out to for more information. So update your FAQ section frequently. Always, put it in your planning calendar that you need to check it every few months to make sure that it's up to date. Always think about your user, put yourself in their position and think about what type of information they need. And make sure that you give them easy, immediate ways to get answers, especially if they don't have their question answered in the FAQs. So they can contact you via email, phone, live chat to get more information. And then once you have them ready to go, you might test them with random individuals to see if you have answered their questions that they might have. Have your mom go to it, or a friend, or someone that you can reach out to look at the FAQs to see if it was helpful to them. Also, they could check it for clarity, wordiness, content, just a second set of eyes to make sure everything looks okay. And another tip is read what your competitors are doing. What other companies, what kind of FAQs, and compare them to the ones you came up with. See if you left out anything. Study organizations that are similar to your own. So if I'm writing FAQs for a college, I'm going to look at FAQs at another college and university just to kind of compare and see what they've done. Just ideas. It just helps to see what someone else is doing to make sure that you haven't left anything out. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed that information that was helpful to you. See you next week.